Welcome back everyone to LBS Response to episode number 91. So yes, welcome back everyone to another LEGO video. In today's video, I'll be bringing you my next episode of my Q&A series I do here on my channel. I upload these every single Thursday, and I pretty much take about 10 or 15 of your questions, answer them in a video like this. First off, I really want to thank you guys all so much for the support on last week's video, on nearly 10,000 views. At the moment, currently the most viewed LBS Response to I've ever done. In the past 3 years I've done these. So without further ado guys, let's get into the first question. So starting off with the first one, we have JaxBricks26. His question is, do you think LEGO will ever make transparent Force Ghosts? I saw they've made plenty of transparent minifigure arms and legs from Ninjago. Keep up the great content. Thank you so much for that. And yes, this has been a topic of discussion over the last, realistically like 5 or 10 years. Sure, it was maybe back, 20 years ago. No one really expected it from LEGO, but in the most recent years, say 5 or 6 years, they've been doing a lot more transparent, minifigure parts, let alone translite blue, which is what a Force Ghost would, hypothetically be on, Ninjago minifigures. They did it on Jet 14 back in 2013 and 14. So yeah, on top of that, one thing I will say right here, and the more so this has come out in the past year or two, the more I'm like, all right, look, next year or in the next couple of years, LEGO has got to at least have the potential to do it. And this all stems from the fact of, the Mexico factory, which I'll actually get into that a little bit later in this video. If you guys want to stick around, I'm actually answering a question about that later. But yeah, so in the past couple of years, the Mexico factory has been able to produce official LEGO parts in basically every single color, including Translite Blue. I'll put up a couple pictures on the screen right now. We have Translite Blue, Vaders. We have Translite Blue C-3POs, which in a technical sense, those are basically Force Ghost already. Those are some of the very few, Mexico factory figures, that I actually really do, enjoy. I really think the Translite Blue ones are worth actually picking up, say for the $25, $30 they usually go for. So I'll put up a couple pictures there, and in my opinion, look, going into next year, I will continue to say this until it happens. I think the October UCS set next year will be one of 3 things. Either a UCS Slave 1, or we will have a UCS Endor Bunker, or I guess MBS, or an MBS, Ewok Village, which at that point, look, Slave 1, Endor Bunker, you probably won't need any Force Ghosts there, of course, but if they make an Ewok Village MBS set, make it a remake, 10-year anniversary since the last one, and 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, I strongly do think, and at least I hope, again, if they're trying to ask, $350 or $400 for it, for the consumers, is, they have a regular set, and then on top of all that, make it extra, good, and just extra worth the value, add those extra 3 Force Ghosts to that set, finally do it, just make Translite Blue molds, add a little print to them, get, the 3 characters up there, and pretty much call it a day like that. So, yeah, again, I think it's 100% possible, of course. Again, like, they were able to do it with official LEGO parts. It's just so much, LEGO themselves, the actual core company. Do they want to do that for Star Wars? I don't see why they wouldn't, but I definitely think it's coming in the near future, actually. Now that it's actually, we see that it's possible, I definitely think in the next couple of years we could potentially see one coming out. Next up, we have Malachi NG, and basically their first question is, what would your absolute dream battle pack be made up of? So yeah, my dream battle pack is pretty much a remake of the 2007, battle pack, pretty much, 2 plain Phase 2 clones, 1 Shock Trooper, and then 1, 327th, and realistically at that point, they can do whatever combination they want. I don't think we need 501st in there, we don't even need 212th in there. I think, 2 plain white Phase 2 clones, 100%, and then, the other 2 could be kind of maybe a mix. Maybe they'll do, Shock Troopers, maybe a Wolfpack Trooper, but a little something else in there, but, the plain Phase 2 clones are the main key to that. Ideally, look, I would like 3 or 4 plain Phase 2 clones, but I think even 2 in a set, especially if there's other clones in there, not just officers, if you start buying, 10, 20, 30 of them, you will continue to, kind of appreciate the fact, hey, you are building up, some Shock Troopers, some 327th. So that's my personal dream battle pack. And also another question they have right here is basically, do I think a battle pack where they have multiple factions in the same battle pack would work? And first off, I'm going to say I would never like that personally. Would it work? Is sure, I think people will buy it, but in no way it will be the same, sell-through rate as a pure clone battle pack. Like, you're going to be getting plenty of people that, don't want to build up the Rebel army at all, don't care for Stormtroopers, they only like clone troopers, and, sure, people might be buying that, but they'll probably be a lot more deterred just to actually go to Bricklink or the aftermarket and just buy what they want. So I personally think, sell-through rate on something like that would be way less, and I personally would not want something like that either. So next up we have Gary. He pretty much asked, do you have any ideas or hopes for what the GWPs for 2023's May the 4th will be? So I've got 2 things right here. Again, there's no rumors yet, no speculation, so these are just kind of straight up just kind of what I hope. First off, bottom line of it, I hope we at least get a LEGO Star Wars, minifigure again. It would be, my dream would be a polybag minifigure, a nice, polybag, promo, make it a chrome Stormtrooper again, a new chrome Vader, just something like that that just is very unique, Phase 2 Commander Bly, something like that, something like that. But if we're really kind of, say going off the last year one, we have the Lars Homestead. If, say, they want to continue something like that for another year or two, I feel like a prime candidate would possibly be a Dexter's Diner with actually, Dexter in that set as the minifigure. I think that'd be fantastic. They can do it in the exact same scale. Literally have the little, bar counter, little curved thing, have the wall there, you have a couple stools, have Dexter behind the counter, and I personally think that'd be a great little thing right there. It would have been even better, say, if they did it last year, for the 20th anniversary Attack of the Clones. I mean, everything would have just really made sense, I feel. But this year, that would be my dream. I think that would be a nice little set in the same kind of, reminiscent scale of the last year promo that they should do for this year. But yeah, there's my thoughts on it. So next up, we have Ubalu Noma Tototo. And my apologies if I actually said that name wrong. But they basically say, ask LBS, love your videos. My sealed 7659 Imperial landing craft from 2007 weighs 928 grams. According to Bricklink, it should weigh 912 grams. Do you think it has the chrome gold C-3PO in it, and should I risk opening it? So, look, that's a big kind of decision, I would say, mainly for yourself at the end of the day. But what I will say to that is, for two things. I would definitely check out my stream I'm doing here on the Friday. This will be a nice little, promo for that stream. So if you guys do know, I'll put up the picture. I bought 9 Assassin Droid battle packs from 2009 in the hopes of, I'm going to crack them open perfectly sealed. I bought a case of 8, then an extra one. And basically, I'll be hoping to get a chrome Darth Vader out of there. If you guys remember, back in 07, 09, they used to do that a lot where, they would take, 5,000, 10,000 of a poly bag and, chrome Vader, gold C-3PO and insert them into, boxes throughout that year of any size. Again, some people have always said, hey, are you sure they're in the battle packs? Look, that's where I got my Chrome Vader from. I literally got my Chrome Vader back in 09, in hand from an Assassin Droid battle pack. So what I will say to that, man, is, again, I've tried to do my research as well. I don't really want to get spoiled, but I did my research, of course, before I bought them. It's definitely really hard to really know for sure and really trust that. That is a big kind of, opening there, though. If you do crack the seals on that, of course, you do lose, some value if there's no C-3PO in there. But my final recommendation would say, hey, look, wait till Friday. I'm going to do that live stream. I'm going to have the scale out. I'm going to try to, line up with stuff and, just make sure all the grams are right and see truly, if I do get one that day, what is the gram difference? Is it actually right, based off of Bricklink and Brick Sets? So I would wait a little bit, quite frankly, until that stream. And if you're in that chat there and to say you haven't opened it till then, I will definitely, kind of give you my full thoughts at that point. But so next up, we have Creeper A100. They say, ask LBS, do you see LEGO making new sequel sets or any sequel remasters in the following year? So, following years, if you're meaning, say, 4 or 5 years from now, then I definitely think so. But I think in the foreseeable 1 or 2 years, definitely not. And if anything, I think, the most likely scenario here would be until, say, the next trilogy of movies comes out, which, at this point, 2025, 2026, I think maybe we'll see one sequel UCS set, but even then, I'm not too sure on that. And it's honestly hard for me to really tell what sequel sets they would even remake. I think they really did everything they could have done. Again, Starkiller Base, I mean, that was, 7 years too late if they decided to do that. They already fixed their Kylo Ren command shuttle. So, in my opinion, look, I think for the foreseeable, 2023, 2024, I think 100% not. But I think, sure, once those new movies start coming out, in which are taking place after the sequel trilogy, I think there's going to be a lot of kind of stuff that shares the same design, same ships, same characters, of course. So, I would give it, it's definitely going to be probably every bit of 2 or 3 years until we see more of those. All right, next up, we have CV Bricks and Projects, and they basically say, if you were to pick between the UCS AT-AT or the UCS Razor Crest, which one would you pick? So by now, I think probably most of you guys do know that I think the UCS AT-AT is pretty overrated, in my opinion. I think it's a fantastic set. I think it works for what it is, but I really feel like, people are giving it a little bit too much credit. In my opinion, look, I would much rather have the Falcon or the Star Destroyer. I'm not the biggest original trilogy fan to begin with. I like the movies, but, I'm a pretty cool guy at heart. So the UCS AT-AT I've always thought was a little overrated. The UCS Razor Crest, though, on the other hand, is I genuinely think that thing is just, again, 2 years too late. Maybe a little too pricey for what it is. I really think they didn't really play their cards right. I think they could have had more minifigures in there. I think it's too big of a, a display model for a ship that's slowly blown up now. We might not ever see it again. So I think as it sits right now, say both were $600 even, or maybe meet in the middle. Say both were $700. Put $100 on top of one and cut $100 off the other one. Both for $700 right now. I would go AT-AT 9 out of 10 times. And I'm not even the biggest AT-AT fan. So I think the UCS Razor Crest is just quite frankly, again, 2 or 3 years is too late. So there's my thoughts. So next up, we have Sudden Brick Productions. They basically say, ask LBS, what is your opinion on LEGO architecture investing and its profitability? So, yeah, I've seen you ask this for a couple weeks now, and quite frankly, I'm getting around to it now, which I apologize for that. But, yeah, so my quick thoughts on that is, you can definitely look at a lot of those original, architecture sets from, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, and those things are worth a lot. A sealed, Chicago architecture set is worth like $250 right now. I think that retails for, I want to say $40, if not $50. So, very cheap. That, of course, has a lot of profit built in, but look at some of the newer stuff. I personally have a couple Great Wall of Chinas. I got those for half off back then. I've actually got 7 over there, and I paid $25 each for them. They're roughly going for about $90 now, 80 or $90, which about 2 years after retirement. So they're going up in value. Definitely kind of more of a slow burn than I thought. But look, overall, I gotta say, in architecture is I'm probably not the guy to ask because I don't really pay attention to really too much of what's going on in the world, as in just like, how popular really are some of these places. I know of the Great Wall of China, but it's like, quite frankly, how many people actually like that place? How many, sets were sold? How long has it been on shelves for? Realistically, I'm not the biggest architecture guy where I probably will not be buying any myself to invest in. Like I said, I got those for half off back then. I'm like, hey, look, I can't go wrong. I would probably rather keep those sealed and then part them out back then. But architecture-wise, really the only thing I'm interested in that theme for is eventually getting a sealed Chicago skyline for myself. But yeah, I would definitely probably look around at other channels if I'm being honest, that may be a little bit more knowledgeable in that. But my first-hand experience, the one I have invested in, sure, it's given me, what, 200% ROI, so not too bad, but there's also quite a few architecture sets out there that I know for a fact are barely pushing, 30, 40, 50% ROI in the same time period. So yeah, sorry that I couldn't give you much more of an answer on that, but I don't really want to give you, false hope or, kind of give you an answer that I'm not fully confident in. Sorry, man. So next up, we have Jackson Avery. He says, ask LBS, do you think we'll ever see a new UCS Imperial Shuttle? So, do I ever think we will see one? Yes, I do. And do I actually want them to remake one? And that's a heck yes, I do. Since you guys probably know by now, that is my #1 most wanted set. I've wanted that thing for years and years. It was literally on my Christmas list for the past 6 years. But it was always one of those things, hey, look, my parents would just buy me, a bunch of smaller sets instead of the bigger set. They think, back then, and probably, looking back retrospectively, probably I was more happy back then, say, getting 6 or 7 smaller sets than just one big set. But nowadays it's my #1 most sought after set. I want that thing so badly. I have, of course, I want to get a sealed one since it's an all white set. So I don't want one with any risk of it being yellowed or dirty or damaged. So I want to get a sealed one. I want to crack it open. I'm thinking at this point for myself, I'll probably get it for my 10-year anniversary come March 3rd, 2023. I'll probably buy one at that point. Hopefully I find it for a pretty good deal. Hopefully like $800 or less, and I'll build it up. But I would want to remake. That's definitely one of those where, look, it would be kind of weird to see, and I would kind of actually dislike the fact, even though I don't own it or might not own it by that time, it would be a little weird and kind of sad to see that the old one will lose value, a lot of value, because I like the fact that some of these sets are holding really good value. It's just kind of cool to have. Not everything needs to be $1,500 or $1,000 for a sealed copy, but it is kind of nice to know, hey, look, like when you do go ahead buy this and save up your money for it, like this thing is pretty valuable at that point. Like it's sought after. Like you have a nice piece for your collection. So it will be a little sad to see the old one go down in value, but quite frankly, I would not mind getting a new one either, since at least for my book, my wallet, it would actually be cheaper. So yes, I do think we'll see one. I definitely think it's in LEGO's higher priority than say some of these other things, and I don't really mind about that. But yeah, I think we'll definitely see it here maybe in the next 5 years or so. But yeah, thanks for the question, man. So next up we have 17, and they say, ask LBS, how come it seems like we'll never get a Star Wars collectible minifigure line like Harry Potter got? Does not lend itself to Star Wars well. So yeah, I think it would lend itself to Star Wars very well. I think if we really get down to the nitty gritty of it, there's probably every bit of 100 to even 200 Star Wars characters just within canon, and it probably just even with even the shows and the movies. Even you're not even counting canon books, canon comics, canon video games. There's probably 100 minifigures that LEGO's not made yet, and there's probably quite a few of those that quite frankly never probably warrant making it into a full set at some point. Just no really room for them to ever be there. So the biggest thing with that, that was a big topic of debate over the past like 5 or 6 years or so, ever since they started doing Harry Potter, Simpsons, stuff like that. Actually licensed CMF lines. Full stretch there of like 3 or 4 years. It was a licensing deal with Hasbro where LEGO was not actually allowed to say sell individual minifigure packets. But the one thing that did kind of deter from that is they actually sold the Obi-Wan collectible minifigure, that poly bag on their website for like a week or so, for just a regular $5. It's literally just a poly bag with a minifigure, and that would technically be what the CMF series is too, just a little bag with the minifigure inside with the stand. So they have kind of contradicted themselves before, and what I do think about that is I think someone actually debunked it. If I can find the video, I'll put the thumbnail up, I'll link it down below. I think someone actually kind of debunked the fact that licensing deal, with the Hasbro stuff, where they can't sell, CMF, Star Wars minifigures, is actually not true. Like, there's actually some way LEGO could do it if they really wanted to. But my little thing with that is, look, I definitely think, I'll give LEGO the benefit of the doubt on this. I really will. Again, I think LEGO does a lot of kind of fishy things. I think they definitely, are doing a lot of missed opportunities. But on something like this, I truly do gotta think, that there's actually something blocking LEGO from doing it. I will give LEGO the benefit of the doubt. There's gotta be something, whether it's legal, whether it's a licensing thing, breach a contract somewhere, something they've signed over the past, 10 or 15 years, or some other right that some other company has to be blocking them from doing it. Because that's a lot of money on the table right there. I mean, that is a lot of money on the table that LEGO is missing by not coming out with a Star Wars CMF, every other year. So next up, we have Sith Studs with a Walking Dead question. I appreciate it, man. He says, question: out of all the villains and antagonists in The Walking Dead, who was your favorite? So yeah, very cliche answer here, but it's just the truth of it. I got to go Negan. Something just hit different about season 7 and 8 Negan. In my opinion, you guys probably know by now. Season 6 is my favorite season, but season 8 is my second favorite season, and a lot of that has to do with just the whole Savior arc. I'm a huge fan of the Saviors as a villain. Let alone, of course, Negan is their leader. And yeah, just a very good time in my life. Back then, very good seasons. I think the story was awesome. Yeah, I love just seeing the fact that another leader, like Negan, actually having that much power within a fictional universe. It's just very cool to see. I would, again, like I kind of said last week, I think I would pay literally like whatever it took. I mean, I would pay as much as I could financially afford to see a rise of Negan, rise of the Saviors in a TV series. Give us literally only 6 episodes even, and I would watch it like day one. I would pay for it. I would do whatever it took. I would walk across the planet just to go be able to see one episode of that, the rise of the Saviors. But yeah, so favorite antagonist definitely gotta be Negan, man. Keith Train, his question is, what are the top 3 LEGO YouTube channels you watch? And look, I'm gonna kind of cut it here and say, look, I'll be honest, I don't watch much LEGO YouTube. I really don't. Whenever I catch a LEGO YouTube video, it really just comes down to, just something like individually, that's topical that I just need to kind of listen to, or something that piques my interest. But actual YouTubers, I gotta be honest, there's really no channel in the LEGO community that I watch on a daily basis, because a lot of it, say news-wise or leak-wise, again, I see it all first, kind of, mock update-wise, sure, look, I do catch like Coconut Brick Studios mock updates. I've probably watched maybe 80% of those. I do like seeing how he's doing, but a lot of this other stuff, like reviews, I personally don't need to watch reviews. I make my own decisions for myself and stuff like that. So LEGO YouTube channels, I gotta be honest, look, I've probably watched a video from everyone maybe a couple times in a month, but I don't really ever, look forward, say, to their next video. But that's no hate to any of the creators. It's just a lot of their content, look, is either just rinse and repeat stuff that, say, I already know about, or, this new wave of that fast-paced edited stuff, I just can't do, man. I can't do it. It's way too childish for me. I can't stand it. I've watched like a couple TD Bricks videos. No hate to him at all. Again, like, he's killing it. But that's just not the type of content I can watch. So to his second question, actually, which is something I can answer, he says, what are the top 3 non-LEGO channels you watch? So yeah, I don't really necessarily watch these channels because I don't really watch much content anymore. A lot of the times when I turn on a YouTube video, I'm just listening to it, since, I'm just putting my AirPods in, then I'm working. So look, my top 3 easily for the past like 3 months, if not literally the past like year or two, and a few of these channels actually for 10 years, is, look, Internet Today, those guys, Ricky and Elliot. I'm serious when I say, look, they used to work at Machinima. I have listened and watched every one of their videos and live streams. I'm serious at this point, maybe 99%. I think I missed a couple live streams back in the day. Maybe I've glossed over a video or two, in the past 10 years, but I'm serious when I say, I would listen to those guys every night when I was going to bed. They're like my nighttime thing, like, not because they're a boring channel, but like, at this point, when I go to bed, say if I can't sleep really quick, and like say I'm laying in my bed tossing and turning, I turn on one of their videos and it just puts me to sleep, because their voices are so soothing to me, since I've been doing it for 10 years now. I remember going to literally 7th grade, man. Like 6th and 7th grade in middle school, waking up when I used to live here with my dad before I moved out with my mom, and it would literally be, I would just listen to them. So that's number 1 for sure. Internet Today, Ricky and Elliot, great source of news over there. Love them, bunch of funny guys. Second off, we got John Campia, movie news and stuff like that. I appreciate his opinions. He's a pretty good guy in my opinion, and he does a lot of live content right there, where a lot of stuff to listen to. And then lastly, kind of someone that I just kind of found out about maybe 8 months ago off of Nerd Theory is Den of Nerds, you know, Josh over there. I mean, there's the top 3 channels that I'm listening to on a daily basis. I mean, I don't miss anything, and you know, whenever I have to go down here and work for a little bit, you pack up a Bricklink order, you know, I put on a little bit of them, and you know, I'm working at 2x speed, it feels like. So yeah, thanks for the question, and yeah, there's the top 3 channels, man. So moving on to the last question here, we actually have kind of the biggest question people have been asking me about the past couple weeks. I've brought it up quite a few times. We have Gylo Miner right here. Basically, you know, look, a lot of people ask this, but he says, what do you mean when you talk about the Mexico factory, you know, what happened? So, you know, the bare minimum gist of this, because I feel like there's going to be other people making videos on it. I might actually eventually make a video on it myself, but, you know, until I really get the full story of it, you know, like, I pretty much know the gist of it. There's a few things that I'm kind of, you know, don't know yet, so I don't really want to say everything. I don't want to say accusations, but from everything I do factually know, it's basically, again, the LEGO, you know, factory in Mexico. I'm not sure what city or what town or whatever, but wherever that factory is down there, basically for the past couple years or so, you know, they've been leaking minifigures early, you know, selling them to people early. Like, you know, Baby Yoda was sold early. There was just now, there's that Series 24 Troll minifigure. You know, that thing's been out for a while. The Avatar set minifigures got, you know, revealed and leaked like a month or 2 early. And basically, you know, so on top of that, you know, leaking minifigures early, producing way more minifigures than they should. That's how, you know, some of these Bricklink sellers have, you know, 10,000 Grogus and 2,500 Heath Ledger Jokers. But, you know, but I feel like really the biggest thing they've been doing for the past, you know, 2 or 3 years now, and I'm very surprised LEGO's allowing this to happen, is, you know, basically any piece that is still in production, you know, that they still have the mold for, that say hot right now, they're just able to make another 1,000 of them. Like the Emperor Palpatine, you know, hologram, when, you know, when Phase 2 Commander Cody was coming out, you know, that piece came out in, I think, the 2016 Imperial Star Destroyer, I believe, or something like that. It was definitely a set that was like 5 years ago, maybe Darth Vader's castle, but just one of those things where, look, I mean, these people should not be getting thousands and thousands of them, but, you know, the Mexico factory is able to do that. You know, we have a couple of these U.S. sellers now that literally have 10,000 of those little hologram pieces that, you know, were initially, say, a $15 part, like naturally, you know, just a rare retired part. And now there's another 10,000 of them in circulation. So there's stuff like that. You know, they're making the random color, you know, C-3POs and Darth Vaders. If you've ever seen like a bright pink Darth Vader on eBay, you know, that's coming from the Mexico factory. And, you know, just, it's bad. I mean, it's really kind of messing up the LEGO market a bit. You know, for a while there, I was kind of appreciating it. I'm like, hey, look, you know, at least I can get a couple of these things cheaper. But, you know, when people are selling, you know, 900 Phase 2 Commander Codys for $15 each, you know, 10,000 UCS, you know, Razor Crest Mandalorians for $30 each. Like, it's starting to get a little old. You know, I'm not a big fan of it. You know, look, people are able to get stuff cheaper. You know, I like that in one aspect, but it's also just completely messing up the entire market. Like, nothing's rare, nothing's unique anymore. You know, and bottom line of it, you know, I'm not going to sit here and make any accusations, but I mean, it's got to be semi-illegal, right? I mean, the fact that they're just doing it after hours down there, you know, getting paid, you know, dirt cheap, you know, from, you know, USA people, because down in Mexico, of course, it's just factual, you know what I mean? Like, the cost of living down there is way less. So, you know, these USA sources are able to pay them, you know, a little bit of money, you know, produce, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of parts every month, probably, source them back to the USA, and these guys are making a killing off of it. And, you know, LEGO is seeing none of that. Again, my quick conspiracy on that is the fact that LEGO does own Bricklink now, where, you know, look, some of these parts and minifigures that are being sold in mass quantity now, that are being made for very, very cheap, that LEGO's not actually paying their employees to make, you know, now, say when they're sold on Bricklink, you know, LEGO is actually getting a cut of that money, you know, 2 or 3% of it. So maybe it's one big conspiracy. Maybe LEGO, you know, LEGO has to know for sure. I don't doubt that, but maybe LEGO's actually allowing it because it's actually making them more money. But if we ever find out LEGO's actually doing that, then I think a lot of people will lose a lot of trust in LEGO right there. But there's the gist of the Mexico factory thing. Again, I probably didn't explain it perfectly. I plan on making a video maybe at some point talking about it because I'm getting a little sick of it myself. But nonetheless, guys, there's every single question for this video. Let's close off. As always, guys, that is all for this video. I want to thank you guys all so much for watching. You know, these are very fun to make. I really have a good time doing these. If your question was not answered in this week's video, be sure to leave it down below for next week. And yeah, guys, so episode number 91, coming up on episode 100. I believe I'm going to be hitting that February 23rd next year, and that'll be pretty fun, guys. But nonetheless, like I said, I really appreciate all the support. You know, last week, almost 10,000 views. Absolutely insane, guys. And almost 30,000 subs right now, guys. And also, again, I'll be doing a live stream later tonight, building and kind of talking about a little bit of stuff. And then tomorrow night, I'll be doing a live stream doing the live unboxing of those, you know, the Assassin Droid battle packs, and hopefully getting a Chrome Vader out of there. So with all that being said, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for you guys later. Bye, guys, and stay safe.